with our societies. Therefore, it is our religious and human duty to analyze these things so that they do not happen again in the future. Kosovo needs to keep the interreligious harmony which was inherited for centuries, and in this aspect, our religious communities should be very careful in order not to allow any escalation of any kind of interreligious intolerance against any group. The interfaith dialogue in Kosovo is essential for a better future for all communities. In this context, the Gulen Movement has been significantly contributing to interfaith dialogue in Kosovo. This movement began formally in Kosovo in October 2004 as a foundation for education and culture called Atmosfera, which is based in Pristina. One of the major contributions of the Gulen Movement has been through translation and publication of a number of books. According to the reports provided by this foundation, so far 16 books of Mr. Fethullah Gülen have been published in Albanian, including his well-known book, Towards a Global Civilization of Love and Tolerance. This book, as seen from the press coverage, has been received very well from the Albanian intellectuals and has had an extensive number of readers. Besides publications, this foundation has also organized seminars related to the necessity of interreligious and intercultural dialogue for the world peace, and has been involved in many other activities all around Kosovo. One of the noble activities undertaken by this foundation was the sponsoring of many students to study abroad. The Gulen Movement in Kosovo is treated as an organized movement that exists for putting forward very important goals. In the center of this movement is Gülen's idea of tolerance, to have respect for different ideas and to forgive everything that is forgivable. The war in Kosovo had enormous consequences. Both human and property losses were high. The huge majority of those killed, persecuted, and having properties destroyed were Muslims. The social harmony between three religious communities was badly affected. Today, 10 years after the war, the dialogue among them is still not very good. The prejudice, hatred, and anger seem to overcome tolerance, forgiveness, and dialogue. To achieve peace and harmony among these three religious communities in Kosovo, people have to first of all be educated and informed on the importance of dialogue. Perhaps change should start from the young people, since history has witnessed that youth have often been a source of change. Gülen believes that a lasting peace can be achieved through the work of a generation which is peaceful, made up of individuals who are living examples of peace, who will build bridges of dialogue and mutual understanding to make peace among people. Now, comparative statistics show that Kosovo has the youngest population in Europe, where 70% of the total population are below 30, and around 50% or half of the population is younger than 25. This shows what a human capital our country has, and what a contribution these young people could bring to the country if they are provided with a good education. This could be part of Gülen's golden generation, a generation that will think of positive steps to build peace and not to be obstructed by historical mistakes. A generation bound on qualities like knowledge, faith, love, altruism, and action. Dialogue and tolerance between Muslims and Christians of Kosovo should open the door to new ideas that benefit both communities. But, as Gülen says, quote, "It is not possible to talk about common ideas or a collective consciousness in communities where individuals do not look upon one another with tolerance. Mistakes of the past should not haunt us for the rest of our lives, for, as they say, to err is human, but to forgive is divine." In this context, Gülen reminds us that tolerance is not something invented by man after all, but its origin is divine. Tolerance, he says, was first introduced on this earth by prophets whose teacher was God. And God has attributes that are rooted in tolerance, like forgiveness, the forgiveness of sins, compassion, and mercy for all creatures. Being tolerant does not jeopardize one's existence, his values, or traditions. Gülen puts an emphasis on this when he says that being tolerant does not mean forgoing the traditions that come from our religion, our nation, or our history. Tolerance is something that has always existed. Tolerance also does not mean being influenced by others or joining them. It means accepting others as they are and knowing how to get along with them. This, I believe, holds true also for interfaith dialogues. For interfaith dialogues, as a professor of mine used to say, are not initiatives nor instruments for a formation of a single world theology. It is not about forming one world religion from the many religions. It is not about replacing or melting all the existing religions in the world into one single world religion or setting up a common theology for all people on earth. Religion, rather, moves along the formula of I learn something about you, you learn something about me. I respect you as you are, and you respect me as I am. I accept you as you are, and you accept me as I am. In conclusion, the interfaith dialogue in Kosovo is very essential in these times because it provides the best platform to create a society which is bound on tolerance, mutual respect, and common striving for a democratic and civilized society. The people of Kosovo, despite their differences in terms of ethnic and religious backgrounds, used to be a symbol of tolerance and harmony until the 1998-99 conflict. Today, religious leaders supported by political leaders should play a positive role overcoming prejudice, anger, and hatred, and in restoring social harmony. Education is an essential part of this. The Gulen Movement has done quite a lot in this field and has achieved great support from the local political and religious authorities. The teachings of Mr. Fethullah Gülen have been a starting point for many interfaith and intercultural conferences in our region and are helping to build a better society. After all, initiating tolerance and dialogue, as Gülen would say, is a duty, and those who lead this process are called virtuous and righteous and will be respected and remembered as peace heroes. Thank you very much for your attention.
Our next presenter is Dr. Turia Kanos from the Department of Languages. She's going to be discussing family law and the changing role of women in Morocco. Welcome, Dr. Kanos.
Thank you. My paper is a case study on Morocco and the new initiative, recent initiative that has been taken by the Moroccan government to bring change to the family code, or what is known in Arabic as the Mudawwana. I compare the views of Muslim scholar and feminist Fatima Mernissi with the views of Mr. Fethullah Gülen, working from within her religious traditions. Muslim scholar and feminist activist Fatima Mernissi advocates modernity without compromising the core principles of Islam. And in that sense, her arguments resonate with Turkish Muslim scholar Fethullah Gülen. But while Mernissi combines modern feminism with Islamic principles, Gülen's perspectives on the Muslim woman are a combination of Sufism and modern interpretations of the Quran and the Hadith. Fethullah Gülen's Sufi-oriented vision of Islam. Fethullah Gülen is one of the most influential Muslim thinkers in the contemporary age. Born in Erzurum, Turkey in 1941, Gülen was shaped by different religious scholars and Sufi spiritual leaders such as Hassi Sidki Effendi, Sadi Effendi, and Muhammad Lutfi Effendi. Gülen's Islamic thoughts have culminated into a global movement which heralds the universal values of education, social justice, and tolerance. Nowadays, there are hundreds of international schools and cultural institutions that are inspired by Gülen's vision for a tolerant and peaceful Islam. Key elements of Sufism, such as piety and spirituality, have greatly influenced Gülen's vision of Islam. In his Islamic teachings, Gülen stresses that